You're listening to Community Forum on KCCC 930 AM, sponsored by Eddy County, honoring God, country, and family, thriving with industry since 1889. Thank you for listening to Community Forum. My name is Johnny Chandler. I'm the owner of KCCC 930 AM and the host of Community Forum. With me today is Carolina Salazar. Did I say that? Did I say the first name right?
Yes, you sure did.
Say it for me.
Carolina Salazar.
See how much, that sounds really nice. All right. I mean, compared to how I say it. So, Ms. Salazar is here with us. She is the executive director of the Carlsbad Literacy Program. Right. Now, I've interviewed a previous executive director once since I've been doing this radio show.
Yes, she told me all about it.
Okay. Yeah. Did that make you more nervous or less nervous?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
Have you done some homework before you showed up?
Yes, a little bit.
Okay. Well,
I've been doing this for a little bit more than whenever I first started, so I feel a little bit more confident.
Yeah, no, I met you like a month or something ago, and you were like, "Oh, I got to be prepared. I got to get ready." This is a very fun program where you promote your thing for free, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever you're doing. So your nonprofit is the Carlsbad Literacy Program. Tell me how you learned about the Carlsbad Literacy Program.
So I had passed by this place several times.
And it's over there by the high school?
It's right down the street from the high school.
Okay. What's the address? Give us the address.
511 North 12th Street.
Okay.
And it's a hidden spot that, I mean, you can, if you blink, you can miss it. Sometimes they're like, where is that? So, and I, at the time, was looking for an alternate job and that would kind of work with my schedule. And I went and I saw it on when I was looking for a job, and I saw that they had an opening. So I went ahead and applied, and I said, well, I think I can do that. I have the background. I have a degree in education. So I applied, and then I had an interview, and then they offered me the position. So,
well, congratulations.
Thank you.
We're glad you're here. Let's talk about your education for a second then, mm-hmm. Right? So you do have an educational background. Do you have a teaching license?
Not at the time.
Okay.
Not right now.
Not right now. But so your educational background is where'd you go to school, right?
Okay,
that sort of stuff.
I have a bachelor's degree in elementary education from Eastern
New Mexico University?
In Portales, yes.
You mean quite possibly the best university in the entire state of New Mexico?
It sure is.
You know why I feel that way?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah, I also graduated from there with a journalism degree and now own a radio station, worked in journalism for a long time. So huge Eastern fan. We're also Southeast New Mexico College fans too, right? Because that's where we're at. So
because that's where we are.
Yeah. So we're Eastern New Mexico fans for sure, right? And so awesome, congratulations. Just for anybody listening, it probably makes her a more qualified candidate than anybody else that applied right away, just because she went to Eastern. But Greyhounds are everywhere, so you watch out for us. We're all over this state.
We sure are.
All right, so awesome. So you graduated, you get from Eastern.
So I've used my degree in a variety of places. I did teach off and on for 10 years, different locations, Carlsbad, Loving. I worked for CARC early, the Child Development Services, and Head Start. So those are some areas that here in the community that I've actually worked. And so I felt that that's, a good background, a good foundation.
So what you just described education-wise had a lot to do with childhood education, young person education, right? Mm-hmm. But the Carlsbad Literacy Program is not that, right?
No, it's not.
So tell us a little bit about what your program is, why you do it, and what's the point and how somebody can get involved.
So there are a lot of people that have I guess don't know what our program is or who it's for. So our program is an adult, basically it's an adult organization. Well, actually.
So here we go. So I'm going to help you out. It's an organization that is designed to help adults who are learning English as a second language.
Well, not totally.
Okay, all right.
So I can tell you a little bit more. Okay. So we are here for those that are age 16 and up. So adults in the community that need support and literacy, because we do have a high illiteracy rate here in our area. So basically, literacy education, basic computer skills. There are some people that want to get their citizenship certification.
Yeah.
And then those that need to get their high school equivalency.
Yeah, maybe the GED, right?
Well, yeah, we did do the GED previously, but we mainly do the high school equivalency, which is the high set.
Yeah, I don't know. Tell me the difference between that.
So I guess they're just different names and different.
Okay.
So they're different tests, but they're basically the same thing.
Same thing. So I think that, so it's not only for people that are trying to learn English as a second language. It's also for individuals that just, we failed somehow, right?
Or maybe they just,
No, we failed them then. If you grew up as an adult and you went to a school in our community and you don't know how to read, we failed you somehow. I'm telling you, if you went to our school district and you don't know how to read as an adult, we failed you, right? I'm just like, I think that's a very fair thing to say when they grew up and went to the school district locally. That means that the community failed them, because how can you let somebody get so far without learning how to read?
Well,
I mean, you're the passionate about this. So here I am playing devil's advocate in a way, right? So go ahead and drop some knowledge on me.
Okay, so we sometimes don't really realize, sometimes you have people that finish school.
Okay.
And they don't really continue in education. Maybe they are raising a family. Maybe, they just didn't have a chance to further their education, maybe go to college, or maybe they forgot some things. And so I know in the past our program has actually supported those that are in the workforce that need training, like safety training, or just help, getting ready for maybe like a test that they need to take for their job.
Right. So it's more than just reading and literacy, but I mean, it's obviously literacy in the aspect that everything's online now, right? And if you go online, you have to take this test or fill out an application online. And that's, first of all, that can be really confusing if you're not familiar with being in online forms. Right. They're already confusing enough as it is, right? And then if you already struggle with the language, right, no matter what your background is, that's not going to make it any easier. Right? You can't be a CDL truck driver if you can't fill out the online forms and take the online tests, right? And that's how we can help lift people out of poverty, right? Maybe.
Right. There are some people that just need that extra boost, that support. I know that right now I have 3 students that I work with, and they have an education they're from Mexico, and they have an education. One's a teacher from Mexico, and one's a graduate from, secondary school, and they want to go to college and get, certified. And it's just a matter of learning English, because that's what we have here in Carlsbad here at our university is. Right.
Well, just imagine if I move somewhere, a foreign country where I don't speak the language, which is every country except for ours, and England and Australia, right? Because I don't know any language except for English. And then trying to be like, oh, look, I'm a journalist here, right? I own a radio station. I host a radio show. I used to work in the television newsrooms in Albuquerque. I wouldn't last a second in a foreign country in a television newsroom, despite the education I have for that. Right. So I'd have to learn that language and do it basically all over again.
And so just supporting them and teaching them, how, well, we have a variety of things that we teach. We teach how to basically, if they're going to work, how are they going to discuss their work schedule with their boss if there's a conflict, or how are they going to read a check to make sure that they got paid correctly, or, communication is really important. So basic communication in English, and also you have the phonemic area of learning how to read and how to write. So yeah, there's a variety of areas that that we cover.
How are you funded? You are a small nonprofit. How are you funded?
We actually have what we call a Partners in Literacy campaign that we do send out to the community here in Carlsbad and surrounding areas. It's like an annual campaign that we do to get some funding.
Okay.
And we also rely on grant funding. So based off of seeing what's out there and applying and giving them some information as to why we need the money and how we're going to use it. And we have a big support system here in Carlsbad with nonprofits where we meet and we discuss. And so I think that that's really important to have, to kind of feel like you're not alone, and you just have that drive to kind of keep going.
So let me ask you a question related to the idea of, so you're a millionaire now, right? You're making $1 million a year being the executive director at the Carlsbad Literacy Program?
No.
Right. I don't want to know how much money you're making. We're not asking you how much money you're making. What I am doing is I'm making the point that you don't get wealthy at this job, right?
Right.
So why? What's your passion for this? Why do you want to do this? You have a young son that you're taking care of, right? We do have another job. I want to talk about that in a second too. But so why this out of any other part-time job to pick up? Why this one?
Well, the other job that I have is actually very physical and very just like, I guess I get pretty exhausted with that sometimes. But I wanted to use my knowledge because sometimes, that motto, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Right.
And so just, with my background in education, I want to make a difference somewhere and help people, because I've learned that here we have everybody's human and everybody wants, I guess I try and teach my son, my son and daughter, that kindness is free. And so being a part of this nonprofit has actually allowed me to kind of connect with the community, those that enter into our doors and ask for help, that they are received just with some respect and just, so they know that, I can connect with them a little bit. Yeah. And just make them feel welcome.
I think that's important. And I can't agree with you more, because I feel like the college is the same way, right? It's like welcoming in people that want to learn more, that are looking to take that step to.
Some of them are very some of them I'm not sure, but it's kind of like they took that step to drive there,
right,
and walk into my front doors and ask for help. And so it takes a lot of, courage sometimes, because if you're like, well, I don't know, and then you just ponder it and never do anything. So,
it's easy to feel insecure about stuff, I believe, right? Somebody's insecure trying to overcome something that you don't know, or when you realize that you have a fault or something, or I need to learn this in order to take the next step forward, right? It's like when you see somebody that is walking, right, or exercising for the first time in a very, very long time, and you're like, wow, you know what I mean? You're not maybe that person looks unhealthy, but that's not what I see. What I see is the person, look what they're doing. They're starting it. They're walking.
I know.
They got started.
I pass people and I say, good for you,
right.
Because that takes a lot of
sometimes I look
energy.
Sometimes I'm like, man, that person's struggling. But good for you, right? It's
and I'm like, I need to do that too.
Yeah, I was like, how do you think I would look doing that? But the point again is the idea of that first step, right? And then when people come in the door. So when somebody gets out of their comfort zone and takes that first step, I really love what you just said, right? The idea of welcoming, making sure that they feel like they're there to help you in every little way that you can.
I try and create a safe space, because a lot of times, if they're like, well, I don't speak. Well, they ask me, and their first question is, do you speak any Spanish? Do you speak Spanish, or do you understand? Yeah. And I'm like, yes, I understand. And I'll sit there and talk.
Do you speak Spanish too?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So you're full on bilingual?
Well, it's my second language, and I'm not perfect, but I can communicate.
Okay.
And I kind of fumble sometimes, but I guess, I feel like a little bit more confident if you don't try it.
Yeah.
But so I get a little chuckle every so often, but kind of breaks the ice a little bit, so they don't feel so. Yeah.
And they're in an intimidating situation too, right?
Right.
So when did you take this job? When was your first
November?
day? November.
Of
okay.
last year. So.
Yeah. So not too long, right? So how many programs are you actually have students right now?
Well, we have about 23 to 25 students registered.
Okay.
But a lot of them are on a waiting list because we don't have the...
So tell me, how do you find people? You have 25 individuals right now that are on a waiting list that want to take that next step in their literacy, right? And get good on the internet, or just literally help me read this paper, or whatever it may be, right? You have 25 individuals doing that. And so... they're all on a wait list?
Well, not all of them. There are some that we work with.
How many people do you have on staff?
Just me, myself.
Okay. All right, so you don't have, and you don't.
I do have, I have about 3 tutors.
Okay, and these are paid tutors, or?
No, they're actually voluntary.
Okay, well let's celebrate them for a second. Congratulations for the volunteers. We'll do a little round of applause. You can't see us, people, but we're giving a silent golf clap in the background for them. But the idea is that they're volunteers, so that means they care about the community. So we need volunteers, right?
Right.
CLP, which I like saying CLP. I really love your email address too, because it's like my CLP, right? Isn't it? So if you would like to reach out to Carolina Salazar and help out with the Carlsbad Literacy Program, you should email her at director@myclp.org. Right, I wasn't sure. Right, but yeah, .org. Director@myclp.org. That's the best time, right?
Yes.
What if somebody wanted to stop by your office?
Our office is located at 511 North 12th Street, and the time,
your
availability,
hours. Yeah.
11 to 4.
Okay.
And sometimes I'm in and out because, one person is, doing stuff around the community. So the best thing to do is email or call around those times.
What's the number?
It's 575-885-1752.
Okay. How bad is your need for volunteers?
It's extremely high.
How many students do you try to keep in a class?
Well, I know that right now we're working one-on-one.
Okay.
Or right now there are 3 students that I've kind of
that you've taken
taken myself. And so one of my I actually got a new tutor. She's in the process of getting started, and she's willing to take up to 5 people.
Wow.
3 to 5 people. So, I got to get her ready for that. But if we have someone that's willing to give, at least an hour and a half per week to do a class, and that would be really helpful, because I know that previously our past director, she actually took that on because she didn't have the teacher either. And so right now our board is aiming for me to do primarily administrative work. And so, it's just a matter of
finding somebody
to take on
that administrative work has to get done.
Well, when it comes to keeping this program going, it's based off of those grants,
exactly.
the Reading grants. And
then you have to perform on those grants too,
right.
Which means you need volunteers and tutors to help you with those. Now, it's intimidating, right? So I'm a very busy person. I probably don't have the time to volunteer. Unfortunately, I encourage anybody else that can. But my question is I'm a little bit intimidated on the surface if I did have the time, because I don't speak any Spanish, right? Is that a big deal? Like, how can I help a Spanish speaker learn English when I can't speak any of their language at all?
Well, first of all, you have to, I guess, see what it feels like. Well, just have a conversation, or even try to have, sit down and get to know them. And I know that a lot of them, some of them know broken English. And so if they know broken English, I know that I speak Spanish, and when I work with some of the people that go, I find myself speaking Spanish to them, but then I remember, oh yeah, they need to get more practice in English. And so I tell them, okay, we're going to speak all English right now. And so I think that if you are willing to sit down and get ready for a class and have that confidence that you're going to teach them what you know, believe it or not, that's a lot of information that they may not know. And so if they're willing to be there and try, there's a thing called total physical response. So if you know how to point to things and, facial expressions and using your body language, that's also helpful too.
Right.
And, it's just a matter of if you have some kind of teaching experience even, or working. I know that what I'm learning right now is they're basically learning like an elementary student would be learning English, just like,
True,
so.
right. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
So it's not like rocket science it's not rocket science.
If you had a high school diploma, you could teach these classes, is what you're saying.
Right.
Right. Now, do you require a high school diploma to be a volunteer?
Well, I think no.
Yeah, I was like, if you come in and you're motivated and you can help this person navigate the daily life easier and better, then good. We're not asking them to write a 10-page paper at the end of the program,
and
right?
It's not like, oh, well, I have to do attendance, all that stuff that you would think, for a teacher. It's if you have the time, if you have an hour maybe to prep and an hour and a half to teach a week, so that's 2.5 hours a week, then that's all you need, basically, now, if you're willing to learn.
What about the requirement of the student, the person that's learning English, right? It's like if they get involved and you start investing time in them, and they're busy, they have lives.
Well, I know that there's this misconception that they just come and they spend hours and hours. They have to put in the work. It's not like elementary school, high school, where you come from 11 to 4 or whatever. You have to invest the time in if you have to do practice at home, because a lot of times, a lot of our students have families at home, and they come in the daytime when their kids are at school, so they can, or they have to get a babysitter or something like that, because at this time, we don't have anyone to provide childcare, so they have to come without their child, which is sometimes hard. So right now, I'm in the process of working out. We did receive a grant that funded some technology, so we have a new smart board in our building, and it's a matter of figuring out how to maybe do like a class online, and that's what we're aiming for, is to utilize more technology, advance our technology.
Well, you guys, last time I was in there, you had a nice little computer lab.
We have a computer lab. So those that don't have access at home, if they don't have a computer at home, they can come into our building and use our computers, they can do YouTube, there are several, I know that I've actually been exploring a lot of the resources that our public library, Carlsbad Public Library, I'm pretty impressed with what they have to offer. So I'm
a huge fan too, by the way. Sarah Jones does a really good job over there.
She sure does.
And we have her on all the time, right? And she does really great work. And so I'm glad that you brought her up, because I think that you guys obviously probably should work fairly closely together.
Well, we've actually had some conversations, and we've planned a couple of things, and we just need to get together a little bit. We're so busy.
Well, what I'm going to do? I'm going to find out what they are, and I'm going to publicize them on the radio and with hard deadlines.
Well, I know that online, because if you have a library card number, you can access so many resources online. Nobody understands. I was looking. You have audiobooks. You have.
Well, yeah, but I know this, right? So every time, thank you for telling me, but yes, let's tell people.
Rosetta Stone.
Get your library card. You can learn a different language on Rosetta Stone. I think they do a lingo too. Even they got a bunch of stuff.
Some ESL
classes,
and the high school equivalency. They have some resources there.
And you can also read the Albuquerque Journal for free
and the
every
current
morning.
Argus also.
The current Argus is going to come around. They have new ownership. It's going to be local ownership. It's going to get better. It wasn't good for a while. I didn't bother reading it, but it's getting better. They have new local ownership. So I wanted to read something here. You brought this nice little trifold, this 3-fold flyer that's called Trifold, which I appreciate. But I wanted to read the history of the Carlsbad Literacy Program. So the Carlsbad Literacy Program, a 501c3 nonprofit organization, was formed in 1985. Ann Wood, a Carlsbad resident whose passion was adult education, was instrumental in advancing the program. The Ann Wood Literacy Center was opened in 1994 and provided the community with a home where services could be provided. Today, we offer various classes in person, online, and through streaming services. So, do you know Ann Wood? Did you ever know who she was?
I never met her. But we do have this big, beautiful picture. When you enter our building, we have a beautiful picture of her. Okay. And it's named after her, and in the front has her name.
Great. So, like we said, let's recap a few things. We got a few more minutes left, but I want to get to what's really important here. So, tutors are needed. You do not have to have like a full-on master's degree to be a tutor at the Carlsbad Literacy Program. Right. You just gotta be somebody that can.
Well, people say, "Well, I don't have time." And there are a lot of our board members are actually full time. They are employed full time, and they actually sometimes. Well, I have a lot of support from my board.
Yeah.
And if you work a full time job, I have one of my tutors comes. He works full time, and then right after work, he comes straight over. Tutors for a good hour and a half and then goes home. Mm-hmm. And so it's a matter of just taking a good hour and a half.
Imagine how good you'll feel if you do that. In return, you'll receive the gratification of helping to improve the lives of others, which is very true, right? That's not a cliche statement. That's very true.
Well, if you know something and you can share the knowledge and you can help somebody and point them in the right direction, maybe give them the confidence that they lack.
You guys work with United Way quite a bit?
Yes.
Great.
They are one of our, we did actually apply for a grant through them. Mm-hmm. And Kyle is wonderful. Yep. He's a very big, he's always sends me links to grants. He's like, have you seen this grant?
It's a good choice for United Way director.
Oh, yes.
Executive Director of United Way. I think he's a great choice for our community.
I'm very impressed with all that he does.
So we know that you need tutors. You could always use volunteers to help you with some of that administrative work, or maybe you got somebody that just wants to fix a toilet or mow the lawn.
Well, yes, and we do. You don't have to be just a tutor. You can be a volunteer because we always have things to do. There's yard,
plenty to do, huh? Yeah.
Cleaning in the office, or even just reading with somebody, or teaching like a basic. Maybe somebody doesn't know how to use a computer. You can come in and teach them how to turn on the computer and access the internet.
Yeah,
things like that. It's something as simple as that.
Well, another thing would be real difficult is I've noticed a lot of people. Some people try to do long form stuff on their phone, right? On the internet on their phone, right? I've met people that literally don't have laptops or nowhere to go to use a computer. But some of this, like filling out a job application online, right, or uploading a resume or something, that could be difficult, right, for some. But also is a lot easier done on a real computer and not on your phone where you got these little boxes and stuff. That's it's incredibly limiting when somebody doesn't have the resources to sit in front of a desktop and get it done, in my opinion. So that's a big deal.
Yes. So we do have that small computer lab that we have actually computers and a printer. So those that need to work on their resume or need help with their resume. I've worked a little bit with Mariana from the Department of Workforce Solutions, and she's come and spoken to some of my students and, to get them set up with some kind of, to get them their resume written.
Well, what if somebody doesn't have an email address? Do you have people that come in that don't have email addresses?
No.
No, typically everybody has an email address when they come in now?
Yes, but if someone doesn't have an email address, we can always help them make one.
It's not difficult, but if you are struggling with literacy, it could be intimidating to sign up for an email address.
Right.
But no, that's not a problem you run into.
And some people just have their phones, like you said.
Yeah.
Some of them just have phones at home, and that's their internet. And I tell them, well, come into the building, and I'm here from this time to this time. Sign in. We have a sign-in form that you just sign in your name, and
it's for anybody that wants to come in.
Free.
And I think it's real difficult. People, like, if you're listening and you know somebody that needs some assistance, or you do when it comes to computers, don't try to fill out those long applications on your phone. It's just really difficult. You need a full keyboard and it'll come across better if you do it that way also. And that's going to be a key literacy issue that you guys have, right? Is understanding the computer literacy and the English associated with that. Now, one thing we didn't talk about is I imagine that your organization will accept money or financial contributions, right?
We do have a Facebook page. I believe it is Carlsbad Literacy Program. Well, I have to think about that.
I mean, so just make sure it's Carlsbad, New Mexico Literacy Program,
right?
Because California pops up like crazy.
I did have someone try and sign up to be a tutor.
Oh, from California,
and it was from California.
Oh, that's too bad.
They were like, "Where are you located?" And it was like perfect.
And what about like you could have Zoomed? You can do Zoom tutoring. You could set up the Zoom and
that's one thing that I'm trying to figure out the whole Zoom thing. We are funded. We do have a grant out of New Mexico Higher Education out of Albuquerque, and they send me weekly technology tips, and just trying to get that started to where I can actually provide some kind of, like a resource page or something for our those that aren't able to come down to our building, or maybe,
Right. So we're almost out of time. I know that this is a passion for you for sure. I really love the idea that kindness costs nothing, right? Isn't that basically what you told us kind of at the beginning? But I want you to kind of sum it up for us, because we're pretty much done. But what is it the one thing that you want everybody to take out of that was listening to this? And then why such a passion for MyCLP?
Well, it's a goal of ours in Carlsbad. Well, us being such a close-knit community, you come to Carlsbad, and a lot of people don't realize how much work people put into helping our little town succeed. And this little nonprofit that's over here, available for those that may not have that extra funding or the ability to pay, especially with the rising costs of living, just to access. It's easy access. You have someone who's there to welcome you in and help you as best possible. And if I can't help you, then we can find someone who can, with consideration of, all our resources here in Carlsbad. So I hope that those that want to be a tutor or maybe just volunteer, we'll take some time to reach out to us and maybe we can, work something out to where you can help.
Give us the website.
Okay. The website. Well, you can find us on Facebook under Carlsbad Literacy Program.
Do you guys have a website too?
Yes. And I think it's carlsbadliteracyprogram.com.
Yeah, I know. Well,
something like that.
Go to Google. Type in Carlsbad New Mexico Literacy Program.
I was looking at that today, and I was like, because it's kind of like, is it a ORG or is it a COM?
Yeah, and I don't even bother with that anymore. Like, don't say www anymore. We know. So we're going to wrap that up with there. Carolina Salazar, Executive Director of Carlsbad Literacy Program. I love your passion. I really appreciate what you're doing for everybody. And we are a community that helps others take that next step forward. And you're doing it. So kudos, and thank you very much for coming on.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're listening to Community Forum on KCCC 930 AM, sponsored by Eddy County, honoring God, country, and family, thriving with industry since 1889.